Please welcome David Medansky.
Yeah.
How many of you promised yourself that you would reduce weight or lose weight? A few of you. And how many of you kept that promise? It's not so easy to keep, is it? I know, I've been there. How many of you have lost weight only to regain it? A few more hands. Have a little tidbit for you. You're not alone. Today we'll learn the importance of reasons to reduce weight and to keep it off. And you'll also learn some tips on what you can do to shed those extra pounds. This presentation may not be for you, but you may know someone, an aunt, an uncle, a colleague, co-worker, a niece or a nephew that could use this information and help them. My name is David Medansky, and if you look at me now, you wouldn't realize that one time I was fat. But in July of 2016, this is what I look like. This is myself with my two daughters and my younger daughter. Maybe some of you were like me, that when we were younger, we were fit and trim. But with most of us, life gets in the way, and before we know it, the weight creeps up on us. Like many of you, I struggled to lose weight. I tried different diets, but no matter what I did, I couldn't keep the weight off, even if I did lose it. Instead of having one scoop of ice cream, I'd eat an entire pint. Instead of having one or a few potato chips, I'd eat an entire canister of Pringles at one time. My pant size ballooned up on me, but then something happened to turn my life around. In July of 2016, my doctor told me, based on my lab results, I had a 95% chance for a heart attack. He gave me two options: lose weight or find a new doctor, because he did not want me dying on his shift. Now, in most things, being in the 95 percentile is a good thing, but not when it's a death sentence. So suddenly, my being 217 pounds wasn't just being an embarrassment, it was lethal. And with that sword hanging over my head, I made a decision to reduce my weight. And during the next 4 months, I shed 50 pounds, and I accomplished in those 4 months what I failed to do the previous 8 years. I lost 25% of my body fat. Now I feel I have more energy, and I feel a lot better. How many of you know someone that would like to feel better and have more energy? Most of you. So I believe it's my duty and obligation to help others reduce weight in a healthy and sustainable manner. Americans spend more than $66 billion each year on weight loss products, ranging from diet pills to expensive meal plans and swanky gym memberships. Yet, according to the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention, 155 million Americans are overweight. Loosely translated, that's 71% of the U.S. adult population, of which 41% are clinically obese. What this means for you is, if you're at a social gathering with 10 people, 7 of you are overweight, 4 of you are obese. 43 million Americans start diets each year. 90 to 95% will fail and blame themselves rather than the diet. It's not people necessarily, but it's the wrong system or wrong process we're using. W. Edward Denning, known for systems, process, and improvements of products, said that 85% of the reason for failure are deficiencies in the system rather than the employee. Deming said, it's not enough to do your best, but you must know what to do and then do your best. He also said, if you can't describe what you are doing as a process, then you don't know what you're doing. Being overweight in America is an epidemic. Making the decision to change your life and your lifestyle can improve your overall health. Those of you who choose not to make an effort to reduce weight put yourself at a higher risk for type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, heart attack, stroke, certain types of cancers, liver failure, sleep apnea, osteoarthritis, among other ailments. A 2017 study found that obesity now causes more preventable deaths than smoking. Think about that. 70% of Americans who are hospitalized are there because of being overweight and obese, and it's all preventable. A 2009 study published in the American Journal of Medicine found that almost 2/3 of bankruptcies in the United States are because of medical issues. If you think it's expensive to eat healthy and stay healthy, you're wrong. Think of the cost of poor eating. It's expensive to get sick. If you have a heart attack and are hospitalized, your out-of-pocket cost after insurance is going to exceed $20,000. So why wait until you get a disease or medical condition when you can significantly reduce your risk by simply changing your eating habits and behaviors? And if you shed those unwanted pounds, I guarantee you'll feel better and have more energy and want to be more active. You can spend more time with your kids and grandkids. Here's another sobering fact. 85% of women over the age of 55 are pre-diabetic or diabetic. Diabetes is the 6th leading cause of death for women. The number one reason that people overeat and gain weight is because of stress. Do you know what the number one reason people go on vacation? To get away from stress. And what do we do when we go on vacation? Overeat and overdrink. In doing research for my book, Discover Your Thinner Self, I was overwhelmed and inundated with the amount of information available for weight loss. Thousands and thousands of books have been written about diet, nutrition, fitness, and exercise. Today, there are over 50,000 books available on Amazon to talk about that topic. There are numerous weight loss programs advertised on TV. You've seen the ads for Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, South Beach Diet, and Nutrisystem. You've heard the ads on radio for Medifast and Red Mountain weight loss. At the grocery store you check out, you see magazines touting the latest and best diet for losing weight. So with all that information out there about weight reduction, dieting, who or what do you believe to act on? How do you choose? One expert will tell you one thing, another will tell you something different, and a third will have a third opinion on it. Let's take breakfast, for example. There are some experts that tell you to eat high protein for breakfast. But Harvey Diamond, author of Fit for Life, one of the best-selling books of all time, tells you to only eat fruit before breakfast. Paul and Patricia Bragg, who are health food experts and nutritional experts, they tell you not to eat breakfast at all. And for you who don't know, Paul and Patricia Bragg, Paul Bragg opened the first health food store in the U.S., and they were trainers for Clint Eastwood, Jack LaLanne, and Gloria Swanson. You've probably seen their Bragg apple cider vinegars on the store shelves. What I've learned is there are a lot of misconceptions and false beliefs about weight loss and dieting. A misconception is a view or an opinion that is incorrect because it's based on false evidence, faulty thinking, or just misunderstanding. During this presentation, I will do my best to sort out the myths from the facts for you. As with everything, I have a few rules, just 2. First, don't believe a word I say. Why would I say that? Because I'm speaking from my experiences, not yours. We're all different. We have different body chemistry, different likes, different preferences on eating. Doesn't make what I'm saying true or false, right or wrong. It just makes it based on what my experiences are. What might work for me might not work for you. What might work for your neighbor might not work for you, and vice versa. But there are universal laws, and we'll touch upon a few of them, that must be adhered to if you want to successfully reduce weight and, most of all, keep it off. The second rule I have is keep an open mind. I ask that you keep an open mind about the information I'm going to present, but that doesn't mean that what is right or wrong or true or false. It just means that it's based on my experience and what's worked for me and others. If something's working for you, great, keep doing it. If it's not working, toss it out. All I ask is to keep an open mind, and Mark Twain said it best when he said, "It ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble, it's what you know for sure that just ain't so." Be careful of what you think you might know about losing weight because it's probably inaccurate. I know I had misbeliefs and misconceptions about losing weight. How many people do you believe would rather suffer the consequences of poor health, diabetes, certain cancers, or even death rather than give up their fast foods and junk foods? You'd be surprised. In researches, they found that people would rather suffer the consequences, even death, than change their lifestyles and eating habits. Weight reduction is not an accident, it is a choice. The average weight loss for contestants on The Biggest Loser is 127 pounds. Over time, the average contestant will gain back 67 pounds, which is 83% of what they lost. A few gain more than what they initially lost, so be careful. Socially acceptable body weight is increasing. Why? Because individuals are content with their weight. They're not aware that their lifestyles may be killing them, and if they are, they just don't want to do anything about it. Let's face it, it's easier to keep the same unhealthy food and avoid exercising. It takes less effort to keep doing the same thing and than making a complete lifestyle change. Reducing weight is so hard that some people just don't want to make the attempt. Also, because 90% of the people that lose weight gain it back, people are of the opinion, why bother? Would you all agree with me that nothing about eating habits will change unless you do something different? I think we can all agree on that. Dr. David Friedman, in his book, Food Sanity, stated, "Whoever snuck the S in fast food was a clever marketer." So true. The chemicals that the fast food restaurants use have been linked to health ailments, including obesity. If you want to grasp the concept of what extra weight is doing to your body, try this simple exercise. Grab 2 one-gallon jugs of water that are full. Each weighs about 8.36 pounds, so you're carrying a total of 17 pounds, 1 in each hand, and carry it around for 15 or 20 minutes, even a half an hour. And when you put it down, you'll feel how much lighter your body feels. So imagine how much better you would feel if you're able to shed an extra 15 to 20 pounds. There's a misperception about being overweight. Sometimes you see someone that is heavier than you, especially with 71% of the American population overweight, of which 41% are clinically obese, so you think because you're thinner that it's better. The perception of what is normal has shifted. If a person doesn't think they need to lose weight, chances are they won't, and won't make the effort to do so. I'd like to tell you a story about a friend of mine, John, who was going to his 50th high school class reunion. He was going through his yearbook with his friend, or with his kids, and his kids made an interesting observation. They said, "Dad, none of the kids in your class are overweight or fat." Lyle, who was joining us for dinner, said, "Yeah, no one in my class that I remember was overweight or fat. And when I looked through my yearbook, there may be a few kids who were heavy, but not like we see today." So it's a misperception now because it's socially acceptable to be overweight and heavy. In this politically correct society, many people believe they shouldn't do or say anything to make overweight people feel uncomfortable. Even physicians walk a fine line. They haven't figured out how they can make patients understand the need to get rid of unwanted weight or unhealthy weight without appearing to be insensitive or offending them. Today's doctors don't want to intervene. They'd rather prescribe medication for you than take the time to understand the underlying issues and explain to you how to reduce weight in a healthy way. However, some of these physicians are overweight themselves, and they don't seem to care to help their patients. Last year, my wife and I were on vacation in Costa Rica, and we met a family practitioner for medicine. He was bragging that his average patients are 300 to 400 pounds. He himself had to lose an extra 100 pounds, and he had already reduced himself by 80 pounds. And he had to lose the 80 pounds because he needed a hip replacement. But his friend and colleague, an orthopedic surgeon, wouldn't do the operation because he was too fat and couldn't get in there until Randy, the doctor, lost the weight. So we may wonder why there's an epidemic in America. It's because of what's going on with our own doctors. Perhaps we should listen to Robert Kiyosaki, who said, "Stop taking advice from people more messed up than you." The other thing about Randy that was interesting, he got very upset because he was trying to explain to me about when you get to a certain age in life, about certain things, and when he learned that I was 5 years older than him, he didn't say anything and left. I hadn't seen him since. I'm of the opinion that food manufacturers are working with Big Pharma to keep us unhealthy. Why do I say that? How many of you have ever heard the term bliss point or heard of Howard Moskowitz? No one. Well, Howard Moskowitz worked for the food companies for over 30 years, and he helped them manufacture food to optimize our craving for it by increasing the salt, fat, and sugar content. And Howard Moskowitz is the one that came up with the term bliss point. They are scientifically engineering food today to increase our craving and make it more addictive. In 1995, the average grocery store had about 15,000 products on its store shelves. Today, there are over 50,000 products on the average grocery store. Now, I don't know about you, but in that time period, I don't know how many new fruits, berries, or vegetables have been discovered in that time. Intervention is also problematic because weight is such a sensitive issue for most people. How many men feel awkward when their wives will ask, "Does this dress make me look fat?" Now, most men, if they're truthful, will make the woman feel uncomfortable and hurt their feelings. So the honest or the dishonest thing to do is to say, "No, you look great." For me, when my wife answers that, my answer or response is, "Do I look stupid?" And unfortunately, there are wives and girlfriends that probably are also afraid to talk about their man's expanding waistlines. It is a sensitive issue. Thankfully for me, my doctor didn't care about being insensitive or hurting my feelings when he flat out told me, lose weight or find a new doctor because you will die. So reducing weight and becoming healthy is a choice, and I made that choice. Everyone wants a magic pill, a secret formula, or special food to reduce weight fast and quickly. It doesn't exist. The most sought-after solution is often the newest, fastest fat burner available that doesn't require dieting and exercise. I'm here to tell you there's no miraculous fruit, vegetable, or berry to help you lose weight or any supplement that will help you do it. Don't bother looking for it. It doesn't exist. There are no shortcuts to reducing weight and maintaining a healthy lifestyle. There's no lotion to rub on your belly to reduce that fat. And there's no genie in a bottle to grant your wish for a thinner, healthier body. But you can lose weight and reduce it in a sustainable, healthy manner without having to order special foods, follow an exercise program, follow restrictive recipes, count calories or do food exchanges, undergo surgeries, or take herbs, drink teas, or take pills. I want to talk to you about exercise for a little bit because in researching I learned about Jim Fixx. Do any of you know who Jim Fixx is? He was a marathon runner in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and he wrote a best-selling book about running. And he died of a heart attack while running at the age of 52. Now, Jim Fixx ate a lot of fast food, fat food, greasy food, and his attitude was, I'm fit and trim, I'm thin, I don't need to worry about what I put in my body. How many of you know of Bob Harper from The Biggest Loser? A few. Well, Bob Harper, at age 51, had a massive heart attack while doing CrossFit. And it wasn't about the amount of exercise he does. What he learned is it's about what you put into your body as fuel. Harper today switched from a high-protein fat and high-fat to a more balanced approach. He does yoga, and he doesn't stress about not going to the gym every day. The key word is not stressed. As you remember at the beginning, I told you stress is the #1 reason people overeat and gain weight. So what weight loss program is good for you or best for you? That depends. All programs work some of the time. Each person is different, and not every program is suitable for every person. One size does not fit all. The other thing is, diets are temporary. It's not a permanent solution. The fact remains that you must choose to make a conscious decision for a lifestyle change. Without changing your eating habits and lifestyles, even if you do lose weight, most likely you'll gain it back. Here's the simple solution to reduce weight in a healthy and sustainable manner. Eat holistic or whole foods, not too much, mostly plants, avoid processed food, and drink more pure water. Sounds simple, yes? Not so easy to do. If it was, we'd all be thinner. It's sad, but true. SAD stands for Standard American Diet, and the Standard American Diet results in more disease today than ever before. But no matter how much proof or evidence exists about the benefits of eating healthier and changing your lifestyle, the fact remains the majority of Americans will never give up their processed food or fast foods. Did you know the word diet is from the Greek word dieta, meaning way of living? So when we talk about diet, we should be talking about a way of living, not some radical way of losing weight. And you shouldn't have to worry about reducing weight all at one time. After all, you didn't gain your weight overnight. What would make you think that you should lose it all at one time? How do you eat an elephant? Anybody know? Exactly, 1 bite at a time. So how would you lose weight? 1 ounce, 1 pound at a time. This is an ounce of fat. This is what a pound of fat looks like. And this is 5 pounds of fat, and it actually weighs 5 pounds because I weighed it. So I know, but this is what looks in your body. So you can do it like I did, 1 ounce and 1 pound at a time. It's small little changes to your eating habits that done consistently over a long period of time, and I'm talking about a year or longer, that can make the biggest difference to successfully reduce weight and keep it off. Think about reducing weight and maintaining it as running a marathon without a finish line, as opposed to dieting, which is doing a sprint. Darren Hardy described weight loss in his book, The Compound Effect. How many are familiar with that? A few? In there, he talks about 3 friends. The first friend is Larry, and Larry is plodding along. Nothing's changing much in his life. But all these friends grew up in the same neighborhood, and they all have the average body and health. Scott is the second friend. Scott decides to read 10 pages of a book each day to improve his knowledge and learning. He also decides to reduce his caloric intake by 125 calories each day. He does that by eliminating sodas, candies, and crackers. He also decides to increase his number of steps he takes by walking an extra mile. Brad is the third friend. Brad indulges and buys himself a big screen TV, and he enjoys watching all his favorite shows, including the Food Channel. And one of the things Brad likes to do is to try the new recipes on the Food Channel with the cheesy new casseroles and the desserts. What they found is, over time of 5 months, there's not much noticeable difference between the 3 friends. After a year, there's still not much of a difference that's noticeable. However, after 25 months, a little over 2 years, there's a big noticeable difference. Scott has lost 33 pounds by making those small adjustments to his lifestyle. Brad has gained 34 pounds. In other words, Brad now weighs 67 pounds heavier than Scott. And Larry keeps plodding along with not much changing in his life. However, they notice other differences. Scott is happy at work and received a promotion. He's got a happy marriage, and he's doing great. Life is wonderful. Brad is miserable at work. His marriage is on the rocks, and he's not happy in life in general. And again, with Larry, he keeps plodding along. Nothing much has changed. He's still where he was 2 years ago. So how many of you would like to weigh 20, 30, or 40 pounds lighter by this time next year? A few. That's great. Keep this in mind. If you lose just 1/2 pound each week for 52 weeks, that's 26 pounds in a year. Think of it this way. If you lose 2, 3, or 4 pounds in a month, and you do it for 12 consecutive months, in a year you'll be 24 to 48 pounds lighter. How many of you think they can lose 2 or 3 pounds, even 4 pounds in a month? Few of you. So with respect to weight loss, the greatest battle that we face is prioritizing our eating habits and behaviors. Charles Duhigg, in his book, The Power of Habit, spoke about keystone habit. A keystone habit is changing one habit that can change your entire life because it will have a ripple effect. How many are you familiar with Paul O'Neill and Alcoa? Alcoa stands for the Aluminum Company of America. They make the foil wrappers for Hershey Kisses, the cans for Coca-Cola, and the bolts that hold satellites up in space, among other things. In October of 1987, Paul O'Neill became the CEO of Alcoa. And he met with Wall Street investors and advisors and some stock analysts. And he spoke about safety and only safety. And this perplexed the Wall Street investors and stock analysts because normally a CEO would talk about profit margins, new markets, and the usual business buzzwords. At the end of the meeting, the advisors and investors all bolted to the door. One advisor demanded that his investors sell all shares of Alcoa. He later regretted that advice and said it was the worst advice he ever gave. Why? Because within 1 year, Alcoa profits soared to record highs. During the next 13 years, Alcoa increased their net revenues by 5 times as much. So what happened with this? What O'Neill found is safety was very bad at Alcoa, and if he improved it to 0 accidents, things would improve. And it did. It had a ripple effect through the entire company. So he focused on changing one simple thing, which had significant results over a noticeable period of time. O'Neill said, "I knew I had to transform Alcoa, but you can't order people to change." The same concept applies to weight reduction. We all know what to do, we just don't do it. No one can order or command you to change your eating habits or behavior. That is a choice you have to make. But here's one thing you can change that can make an impact. If you drink soda or diet soda, switch to drinking water, pure water. If you don't like drinking pure water, figure out a way to add some flavor to it. If you go to the tropics, they always are adding pineapple, oranges, lemons, watermelon, different berries. So it can be delicious and thirst quenching. Now, avoid getting the flavored waters already at the supermarket because they're artificially flavored and they're unhealthy for you. The other thing is, researchers have found that 70% of Americans suffer from dehydration. In other words, we're not drinking enough pure water. Also, if you're thirsty, you sometimes think that you're hungry and will eat instead of drinking more water. When I go to restaurants, I tend to fill up on plain water instead of the bread. So, the other thing is diet sodas can cause weight gain. And I can hear what you're thinking now, but it's 0 calories. Yes, it's 0 calories, but it contains the artificial sweetener aspartame. Aspartame slows down your metabolism and prevents your body from absorbing important vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients. In other words, your body's starving. And when your body starves, it goes into starvation mode and fights like heck to keep the fat that it has. So you can start today by just making that one small change of shifting from drinking sodas and diet sodas or even fruit juices to drinking pure water. So what else can you do to reduce weight? Well, first thing is don't believe everything that's being advertised. There are a lot of companies that are perpetuating falsehoods and myths about reducing weight. There's a lot of conflicting information about weight loss and dieting, especially when it comes to nutrition. If you're going to be losing weight and you tell someone, most likely they're going to have a tip, a suggestion, or idea for you. So be wary of what people are telling you. There are too many companies peddling products that just don't work or methods that will not promote healthy and sustainable weight loss. To achieve permanent weight loss, you must change your lifestyle and eating habits. Now I'm going to tell you something that you won't understand, but I'm going to tell you you don't want to lose weight. Why would I say that? Because when we lose something, we want to tend to find it. That's probably why people who lose weight regain it. What you want to do is shift your thinking to reducing weight, releasing weight, shedding pounds, or dropping pounds. Because once you get rid of your unwanted pounds, you don't want to find them and put them back on again. Another question that I'm often asked is, how much should I weigh, or what's an ideal weight? The simple answer is, there is no ideal weight. Each of us are different. Unfortunately, too many people rely on a body mass index, which is known as BMI, to determine a perfect weight. Body mass index measures a person's height in relation to their weight, but it's not a perfect measurement. Research has demonstrated errors occur attempting to identify normal weight range. Your ideal weight depends on several factors, including your body composition, your height, your age, your weight, your frame size, your gender, your bone density, fat distribution, and muscle to fat ratio, among other things. Further, BMI does not indicate a person's overall healthiness and well-being. As an example, just because a person is thin does not mean they're healthy. They could be suffering from poor eating habits, a drug issue, or a fad diet lacking in proper nutrition. Nor is it a good indicator of cardiovascular disease, as Bob Harper and Jim Fix learned. The BMI does not distinguish between a couch potato and a bodybuilder. It was never meant to determine an ideal weight. Even the mathematician Adolf Quetelet, who created the formula used for BMI, warned against using it for individuals and individuals' health. In fact, more than 50 million Americans have been misdiagnosed or inaccurately labeled as overweight or obese based on BMI. According to Dr. Oz, your waist size should be 1/2 of your height. In other words, if you're 5'8", like I am, that's 68 inches, I should have a waist size of 34 inches or less. If you're 6 foot tall, your waist size should be 36 inches or less. Some of the misconceptions about losing weight are people believe if they eat more fruits and vegetables that they'll reduce weight. That's only partially true. That's one factor. Researchers have found that people who do not change much of their eating habits but increase their eating of fruits and vegetables did not lose any weight at all. The other thing is, should you strictly adhere to high protein for weight loss? Well, that depends. If you go into a health food store, you'll see a shelf full of different protein powders that you should buy. Some of them will be for bodybuilders to gain weight and muscle. Others will be protein for losing weight. So which is it? Is it protein good for weight loss or weight gain? It all depends on what you're trying to do because there's different types of proteins. People believe that if they eat a salad, that's a good way to lose weight. Unfortunately, in most restaurants, salads sometimes have more calories than a normal meal. Some will have as many as 1,350 to 2,000 calories. And you're asking, how can that be? Because of the salad dressing, which most of them are oil-based, and also the extras they put on, the bacon, the cheese, the crouton, and other goodies. So when you eat a salad, make your own salad dressing using apple cider vinegar and lemon, or an oil base, or even salsa. People believe that it costs a lot of money to eat healthy. Yet, if you go to McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Jack in the Box, Panda Express, or Denny's, the average meal for a combo meal is $7. You can buy the food a lot cheaper, and it's a lot better for you in a food store, grocery store. But most people don't want to take the effort to go grocery shopping. It's not convenient, and they certainly don't want to take the time to prepare the food and then clean up from it. So again, it's a lifestyle change. Whenever possible, you should always order baked items or steamed items as opposed to fried items. I'm often asked, is fresh better than frozen? To be honest, it doesn't make a difference when it comes to vegetables and fruits. The frozen are just as nutritious as the frozen. Now, you don't want to go out and get frozen meals because they're high in sodium and other chemicals. You also want to avoid crash diets. A person can lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks on a crash diet, but it's not sustainable or maintainable. The problem arises if you don't adjust or modify your eating habits and lifestyle. Once you resume your normal eating habits, you'll gain all your weight, and even some more. I lost my weight on HCG, which is a female hormone from pregnant women. You inject it into your belly, and you're on 550 calories a day for 6 weeks, and then 1,250 calories a day for another 6 weeks. People ask if I recommend HCG as a weight loss product or what they should do as a program. My answer is no, and they're stunned because it worked for me. 90% of the people who are on HCG gain the weight back and then some. My doctor who put me on HCG tells me he has patients that come every year at the same time to start the program over again because it doesn't teach you how to change your eating habits or lifestyle. And people start going back, reverting to their old eating habits. The other thing with HCG is it's only a temporary fix. It tricks the body into burning fat instead of muscle. If you were to try to lose weight on 550 calories a day, you would burn muscle and not fat, and you wouldn't reduce weight. I know this is true because my friend wanted to lose weight the same time I did, but he didn't want to pay for the HCG or go to a doctor, and he was going to prove to me that you can do it just by not eating. He lost 40 pounds during the same time I lost my 50. He did it by not eating one day except drinking Coke and water, and the next day having one meal. At the end of 12 weeks, he looked at me and he said, "How come my skin is hanging and yours isn't?" I said, "I burnt fat, you burnt muscle." And he replied, "You don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to go to the gym, get a trainer, and I'll show you." I said, "Great." After 2 weeks of being at his gym with his trainer, he came back and he told me, he says, "Can you lift more than 15 pounds? I said, "Yeah, why?" He says, "I can't." He says, "I don't have any strength." I said, "Did you talk to your trainer?" He says, "Yeah." "What did your trainer say to you?" My trainer asked me if I was eating. And I told him no. And he says, "Well, you're burning muscle instead of fat. Your body's in starvation mode. To get your strength back, you have to start eating." So he did, and he gained some weight, but he also started putting on muscle. So you can't do crash diets. It's just not going to work. Now, if you skip a meal every now and then, it won't hurt you. But if you make it a habit, you're depriving your body of the nutrition it needs. Eating before bedtime. This is a bad habit for most of us, especially if we watch TV at night. We like to eat and snack. I know. I do it. I try to avoid it, and I do my best that I can. But they recommend not eating at least 3 hours before your bedtime. If you're going to eat, have high protein. So unsalted, unroasted almonds are great. Cheese sticks are great, or cheese, or even a hard-boiled egg if you want to have a snack before bedtime. Otherwise, do your best to have plain water, black coffee, or even an herbal tea that has no caffeine. Some health professionals and weight loss clinics will advocate a person doesn't need to be highly motivated to start a weight loss regimen. They only need to begin. How many of you heard "start now"? This is partially accurate. To demonstrate my point, consider how many people make New Year's resolutions to reduce weight. They found within 3 weeks, 80% of those resolutions are broken, and people go back to their own ways. Researchers have found that those who have a compelling reason, like I did, I didn't want to have a heart attack and die, are more motivated and are committed to reducing weight. People want to reduce weight, and they say they will do, but unless you commit to do it, you're not going to follow through and stick with it. People give up after a few days, a few weeks, or even a few months. It's that lack of commitment and determination that causes people to go back to their old eating habits. But once you decide and commit to reduce weight, I promise you the universe will conspire to make it happen for you. Also, you should change your relationship with food. Many of us look at food as comforting. We go to it, how many of you seen the TV programs where the person's eating ice cream out of the pint or going for the chocolate? I'm a chocoholic. I know how chocolate can be comforting. But now I look at food as fuel for my body. And I treat my body a lot better than most people, because most of you will change the oil in your car and maintain the maintenance on your car, but not maintain your bodies. Most of you will have your pets that you will take to the vet and provide better nutrition than you give yourselves. So it's important to change your relationship with food and think of it as fuel for your body. The other thing is, get someone to help you keep you accountable. It's important. What Weight Watchers researchers found is that those people that attended meetings lost 3 times as much weight as those who did it alone. So, what else can you do to reduce weight? Well, there's no perfect time to start. How many times have we made the excuse, I'll start Monday, or after I come back for vacation, or the holidays are coming up. We have Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. How many are you going to wait till after New Year's to start reducing weight? Or I'm going on vacation, or I'm going to have dinner with friends at my favorite restaurant. We all have those excuses. I know. I've used them all. I did in 4 months what I failed to do the previous 8 years. When we try to reduce weight or maintain it, people often look at calories and grams of carbohydrates or fat. What they forget about is the grams of sugar. At Starbucks, a grande, which is the medium-sized drink for a Java chip frappuccino, has 66 grams of sugar in it. And not to be outdone, the Starbucks Grande S'mores Frappuccino has 68 grams of sugar. Now, the average person on 2,000 calories a day only needs 50 grams of sugar each day. In other words, when you drink a Starbucks foo-foo drink, as I refer to it, you're getting more sugar in one drink than you need for the entire day. And some people have 2 or 3 of these in an entire day. So be careful of those sugary drinks. And also be careful of making exceptions. They tend to become the rule. That's how I went from being fit and trim, by making exceptions, to looking like this and then having to reduce it again. I'm sure you've heard the expression, go ahead, just have one, it won't hurt you. One cookie won't hurt you. One piece of candy won't hurt you. I made this special for you. Why won't you have some? It won't hurt you and it won't kill you, but it will help you prevent from losing weight, which is more important to you. So there's ways to just say thank you, but it'll look better on you than me. Also, it's not what you do when someone is watching, it's what you do when no one is watching. Do you sneak snacks when no one's around, when you're alone? Stop doing that. You're only lying to yourself. If you feel the need to have a snack, call a friend. Go for a walk. Do some exercise. Do something to distract yourself so you don't give in to that craving. Here are some tips that you can use today if you want to improve your eating habits. The first one is, as we talked before, substitute pure water for sodas, juices, and flavored waters. Drink more pure water. The second one is avoid or reduce your alcohol consumption. Third, eat off of a blue salad plate. Now, why would you want to eat off of a blue salad plate? Well, the color blue is an appetite suppressant. The colors red and yellow are actual appetite stimulants. So that's probably why McDonald's, Denny's, Burger King, KFC, Panda Express, Wendy's, and Carl's Jr. all use red and yellow or combination thereof in their advertising and marketing. Also, you want to eat smaller portions. There's an optical illusion. It's called the Balboa illusion. And what they did was they took two exact circles, the same diameter, and on one they made a large outer rim, and the other they made a smaller outer rim. Now the circle with the larger outer rim actually appeared smaller than the circle with the smaller outer rim, but they were exactly the same. So imagine having a dinner plate and putting some food on it, and then putting the exact amount on a salad plate. On the salad plate, it's going to look like more food. On the dinner plate, it'll look like less food. When you go to a restaurant, the serving sizes are 2 or 3 times what you really need to eat. I have participants in my weight reduction program that will take the portions that they get, cut it in half, put it in a to-go box, and just eat their meal because that's a normal portion. The other thing is they get 2 meals for the price of one, and they save some money. So overall, it's a better benefit. Also, eat slower. Put your fork down between bites. I used to be a very fast eater, but I learned if I put my fork down instead of shoveling it into my mouth like I used to do, it takes me a while, and I get to enjoy the food more. So, if you want to reduce weight and keep it off, I want to be your first step. You can hop on a phone call with me, and we can discuss what's working for you and what's not working. You can fill out one of the cards, and I'll give you a call. Or, if you just want to enter to win the free books that I'm giving away with the companion little booklet and the deck of cards, you can do that. But no matter what you do, you must put in the time, effort, and work to reduce weight. There's no amount of money you can pay someone to lose your weight. They can't eat for you, they can't exercise for you, they can't drink lots of water for you, and they can't get the proper nutrition for you. You have the power to choose to make better decisions. It is a choice. You can choose to transform your lifestyle to improve your overall health. The only question is, will you choose to do so, or will you just be another statistic? What will be your weight loss story? Kevin, thank you for inviting me to speak tonight.
David Medansky, everybody.